What the fuck is that? What's that? What is that?
This is DLSS 5. Take a look at it.
Okay, so Nvidia just announced DLSS 5, and they're calling it, and I'm quoting the CEO directly here, the GPT moment for graphics. And you know, this sounds incredibly impressive until you actually see what it does to your games.
What is that? What the fuck is that?
Okay, before we get into it, if you like this type of content, please hit subscribe and comment and all of that stuff. We're a small channel and every single one genuinely matters. Okay, back to Nvidia making everyone look like an AI generated Botox monster. And before we get into it, you need to understand what DLSS actually was, because it used to be genuinely amazing, like really good. DLSS has been around since 2018, and the whole idea was simple. Your GPU renders the game at a lower resolution, the AI upscales it to look like a higher resolution, you get more frames, and everyone's happy. It was basically free performance. Gamers loved it, developers loved it, and it just kinda worked. Then DLSS came around and added frame gen, where the AI starts literally inventing frames that your GPU never rendered. And DLSS 4.5 pushed that so hard that right now, if you're on an RTX 50 series GPU and you have DLSS 4.5 enabled, 23 out of every 24 pixels on your screen are AI generated, which is kind of insane when you think about it, but you know, whatever. I mean, the frames are smooth, the game looks good, and nobody was really complaining too much. The key thing through all of this is that DLSS never touched the actual art style of the game. It was always a performance tool. It made your game run better without changing what your game looked like. That was the deal. And DLSS 5 just blew up that deal entirely. So DLSS 5 is not upscaling. It's not even frame gen. What it actually does is takes your game existing frame, the lighting, the characters, the environment, everything Capcom, Bethesda, and Ubisoft artists spent years carefully designing. And then it feeds that into a generative AI model that rewrites what it looks like in real time. Nvidia calls this neural rendering. They say it adds photoreal lighting and materials. They also say it makes games look like Hollywood visual effects. And honestly, I mean, looking at some of the environment shots, it does look pretty nice until you see what it does to faces. So, this is Grace Ashcroft from Resident Evil Requiem, Capcom's character. This is Capcom's art direction. Years of work from a team of actual artists. And then DLSS 5 looks at her and goes, yeah, I don't think that's good enough. And suddenly now, she looks like she was generated by a free AI image site at 2 AM. The internet immediately called this AI slop turning characters into Instagram models, which is genuinely the most accurate description I've ever heard. And it's not even just Resident Evil. Starfield characters got it, Hogwarts Legacy got it, and most impressively, or should I say horrendously, Virgil van Dijk from the FC games. That is a real human person with a real face that millions of people recognize. He got completely transformed into just some random guy. I mean, bro, what is that? And all of this raises a whole separate set of questions that we'll get to in a minute. Now, Nvidia's response to all of this has been that developers have full artistic control. They can tune the intensity, the masking, where the effect applies. They're saying it's not a filter, except here's the thing. The games in the announcement video, Resident Evil Requiem, Starfield, Hogwarts Legacy, those were not random. Nvidia picked those, with full cooperation from Capcom and Bethesda, who were involved in the process, who had time to tune it, and who wanted it to look the best. This was their most carefully curated showcase of the technology at its peak, and it still looked like that. A rendering engineer at Respawn said it was an overbearing contrast, sharpness, and airbrush filter, and that he'd stick with the original artistic intent. Concept artist Jeff Talbot called it a garbage AI filter and said this is not the direction games should be going in. These are not random people on Reddit complaining. These are actual people who work in the industry that DLSS 5 is going to affect. And Sam Barlow, the developer behind Immortality and Her Story, noticed something that nobody else was really pointing out. Nvidia specifically chose games that don't have real actor likenesses for their demo. Because imagine if they use a game with a real celebrity's face in it and the AI just casually changed what that person looks like. I mean, the legal problems alone would be an absolute nightmare. So they were smart enough to avoid that, and they still somehow managed to warp Virgil van Dijk's face anyway. Then there's the hardware situation, which is its own thing entirely. Nvidia GTC demo ran on 2 RTX 5090s, not one, two. One GPU for the actual game and a second GPU dedicated entirely to running the DLSS 5 model. 2 RTX 5090s at their cheapest are somewhere around $4,000. $4,000 worth of graphics cards just to run their announcement demo? Dude, this is for a feature that's supposedly coming to regular consumers this fall. That's like 6 months. Now, Nvidia says it'll run on a single GPU when it actually ships, and hey, maybe it will, but they haven't even confirmed which GPU architectures it will support beyond specifically the 5090. And matter of fact, only 0.19% of gamers even own a 5090, making this technology that much more bizarre if it requires 2 5090s, which is even more crazy considering DLSS 5 might be 50 series inclusive. We genuinely don't know yet. There are no performance numbers, no detail on how much overhead it'll add, absolutely nothing. They just announced it, showed us some plastic surgery video game characters, and said it's coming in the fall. And when the backlash hit, when game developers and players started calling it slop, Jensen Huang's response at a press Q&A was just, well, first of all, they're completely wrong. That's it. Not we hear the concerns and we're going to address them, just completely wrong. Thanks for the feedback, bro. And here's what actually worries me personally about all of this though. DLSS 4.5 already has 23 out of 24 pixels being AI generated. DLSS 5 now has the AI writing the lighting, material, and faces of the entire scene on top of that. Now at some point you have to just ask, at what point does the game stop being the game that the developers made and just start being Nvidia's version of it? And the reason that question matters is that DLSS isn't some niche feature. It's in over 750 games. It is quite literally the industry standard for PC gaming at this point. When DLSS 2 came out, and you know, it was actually good, every developer started adding it to everything. If DLSS 5 gets that same adoption, and Nvidia is clearly pushing hard for that given the publisher support they've already lined up, then this AI pass becomes a standard part of what PC gaming looks like. Not optional, it's not something enthusiasts just turn on. It's literally going to become the default. And look, I want to be fair here. DLSS has been a genuinely great technology for years. DLSS 2 upscaling still holds up to this day and is incredibly impressive. FrameGen is legitimately useful. I'm not going to sit here and say Nvidia is evil or that AI in games is always bad, but DLSS 5 is doing something that none of the previous versions ever did. It's not even going to help your game run better. It's literally just changing what the game looks like, and it's doing that by taking the deliberate artistic choices of the people who actually made the game better and running them through an AI filter that thinks it knows better. When the actual game developers, the rendering engineers, the concept artists, the people whose literal job it is to make the games look a certain way, come out and say this is a garbage AI filter and this is not the direction that things should go, I think that's worth taking pretty seriously. I mean, these people aren't people who are scared of new technology. They're people who understand exactly what this does to their work. Listen, Jensen Huang can say they're completely wrong, but look at those before and afters one more time and tell me honestly, does the DLSS 5 version look like what the developers intended? Or does it look like someone ran the game through an Instagram filter and called it a breakthrough? DLSS 5 is terrible, and the GPT moment for graphics might end up being the moment PC gaming stops looking breathtaking and looks more like AI slop. If you made it this far in the video, you clearly care about this stuff, so subscribe because this is exactly the kind of thing we cover on here. And drop your take in the comments. I mean, do you think DLSS 5 is actually good and I'm just coping? I genuinely want to know, so see you in the next one.